Welcome to the second season of the Dr. Ramsey Show. Our intention is to deliver educational content and useful information on holistic health and our clinic, Revitalize Functional Medicine. To stay up to date with our weekly episodes, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Enjoy the show.
Hi, and welcome back to the Dr. Ramsey Show. Today we're going to be talking about a topic I love, and I'm grateful to share this with people, especially people who don't know a lot about it. The subject of today's show is CBD products. CBD and the amount of THC that's allowed by the FDA, which is 0.13%. I have with me two gentlemen from Wellphora. It's a local organic company that makes these CBD products. We have Matt and Jeff. Matt's the owner. And Jeff's an educational salesperson, right?
That's right, that's correct.
So I want to share, what does CBD and THC do to the body? I know you also have products without THC for those that are nervous about it, although the THC makes it work better, is what I've learned from you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, THC and CBD are just two of 120 different cannabinoids that come in cannabis plants.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the chemical in a cannabis plant.
How many are there? How many cannabinoids?
It's debatable. So you can read different literature that'll say, some will say 109, a lot will say 113, and some will say as many as 123. A lot of them they just don't know enough about, that they're just so slightly different molecularly that they kind of run together. So there's not an exact number on how many.
Right.
But as far as very powerful ones, we know of two that are really powerful, and that's CBD and THC.
Right. And we have receptors in our bodies, very natural for our body to take in CBD and THC. The products they sell that we sell in our office, I should say, the products they make that we sell in our office will not make you high. But they really do well with treating inflammation and pain. So let's go into that.
Yeah, so I always like to start with THC because when people hear the term THC, it's something that they usually feel familiar with. And that's because it's from marijuana.
Right.
And so when they hear the term marijuana and cannabis, it's interchangeable. But really it's not. And we talk about cannabis, and we use canine as a great, kind of a baseline, because there's about 400 plus different cannabis plants. There's also about 400 different breeds of canine. Mm-hmm. So when you hear canine and cannabis, it kind of gives you an idea, because you could probably name 100 different dog breeds. If you really started thinking about it, you probably could. But cannabis, we've only heard of two, and that's hemp and marijuana. And people think that that's the same, but they're very different plants. But they do have cannabinoids, the chemicals in them that make them cannabis.
Because I used to think that pot came from hemp, but that's not the truth.
No, pot is actually just a slang term for marijuana.
Right.
So
and marijuana and hemp are two entirely different plants.
Two totally different plants. It's the difference between a Labrador and a poodle. You can tell the difference by looking at them, but they still have tails and 4 feet, and so they're very, they're very much connected because they have cannabinoids in them.
And when you bring up canine, it's because it's good for dogs.
Well, yeah, it is good for dogs.
Right.
Yeah. Well, in our business, we always use the pet industry, and actually just gee whiz stuff is that the pet industry is the biggest portion of the cannabis industry in CBD.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that because, I have a dog, but...
Yeah.
It's true.
And so for us,
That's
we actually use CBD pet products, and we call it the gateway drug for humans, because a lot of people are really skeptical, or they're nervous because of the stuff of THC being psychoactive, where CBD is not psychoactive. It doesn't get you high, it doesn't make you feel euphoric, and doesn't mess with your brain.
Right.
So yeah, that's one of the side effects of THCs. THC has great medicinal benefits, just as CBD does, but it also makes you high, which is one of the reasons a lot of people use it, not for the medicinal benefits.
Right, not in your products though. And the amount that the FDA allows is 0.13%, I believe?
It's actually 0.3%.
Oh, it's 0.3%.
0.3% THC is the upper limit. And so having zero and none at all,
that's right.
It's really, it's not as effective. And because they have a symbiotic relationship where they're synergistic, where they potentiate the effect. And so having lots of cannabinoids is very beneficial, because they all play a role, the two most powerful being THC and CBD. Right. But there's a lot of other minors. So the majors, as far as the cannabinoids, are THC and CBD, and then there's a whole bunch of minors. And some of those minors they know a lot about, some of them they know a little bit about, but there's different things that they use for them. So having a full spectrum CBD product
I love it.
will have a bunch of different minors into it that really generate that effect and make it work much better.
Right.
So if you're missing the THC, it's just not going to work nearly as well as a regular CBD product that's full spectrum.
And we don't really sell just the CBD. We sell mainly the one with the THC in it.
Right.
Right.
Full and
and the only reason that you would ever use a CBD product that wasn't full spectrum is because of a sensitive job role. If you were getting tested for THC to make sure that you're not abusing that drug. And that's, police officers, airline pilots, CDL drivers, jobs
they can't
on that,
take it.
heavy equipment operators. Yeah. Even though it doesn't make them psychoactive, it doesn't change their brain chemistry at that really minor amount.
Just makes CBD work better.
Yes, exactly.
I've learned that from you, and I love that. And Jeff, what are the main reasons that people use the sublingual, which means it goes underneath your tongue?
And we talked about this. Inflammation is probably the number one reason they're using products for. And we talked about this also, the neurological side, where sleep and anxiety and stress is something you'll experience first, and then the inflammation comes shortly after that. And we bring a lot of education with our company, telling them what to expect. What expectations are important, right?
Right.
For people.
You don't want to oversell.
No, they won't oversell. We bring education, explain what it is, what it isn't. It's not marijuana. It's hemp derived from cannabis. So we go through that over and over until we show a good picture of that and they understand that clearly.
Right.
Sure.
And I think you said that people notice pain relief before.
Synergistically, they get the sleep, anxiety, stress, neurological first. Is that correct? Right?
Sleep, anxiety, and stress.
Neurological side would be first, and then shortly after that would be the help with inflammation.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I had a sciatica pain. I was taking my first work for this company over, had a little bad back. The roll-ons helped immediately. The pain creams helped immediately. The tinctures helped shortly after that with my sciatica. I was sleeping better, more useful with my jobs. I was stress-free a little bit, and then the pain help came kind of shortly after that, which is important.
That's interesting because I dose my patients who I'm dosing for sleep morning and night because I'm going to do it every 12-hour dosing just to keep their body de-inflamed and relaxed. So taking it just at night wouldn't be enough.
Correct. That's very correct. First thing in the morning to have your body running efficiently, you use the exact same product to help your body sleep efficiently in the evening. So
homeostasis.
Yes, 100%. Mm-hmm. That's the goal for sure.
Right. And so I know there's certain people that can't take the THC product. Is there anybody who can't take the plain CBD product?
Say again?
If the ones that have the THC, the 0.3%, if you're going to be tested, you don't want to take that. But the plain CBD products that you have.
That's called the broad spectrum. To go with that, so people are just to split hairs here, what people are looking for. Mm-hmm. We hear a full spectrum. That's everything from the hemp plant. We have CO2 extraction, which is important. Mm-hmm. Our carrier oil, which is MCT, high-grade MCT is very important. So all these things, organic hemp, extraction, carrier oil count. So the best product we have is with the full spectrum with the THC. The verbiage for the one without zero THC is called a broad spectrum. If you're looking to, if you walk into your place, you can ask for a full or broad spectrum.
Right.
You know what you're looking for.
And broad spectrum is basically started as full spectrum and then just had the THC remediated and pulled out completely.
That's important.
And that's important to know because you still get the other cannabinoids in there, but because THC is a major and it really proliferates what CBD can do also is that if you just had CBD by itself without the other cannabinoids at all, it's not nearly as effective. Right? Mm-hmm. So having it work with the other cannabinoids is very effective.
Right. And I love your topicals for pain. I think they work so well.
Well, and we hear a lot of companies out there and they'll say things like, you need to take this for 7 days to really get the effect, or 3 days or 10 days. That is not the case.
Right.
Mm-hmm. For example, pain relief.
Mm-hmm.
Pain relief comes from your neurological side and your nerve endings telling your brain that you have pain. And usually it's doing that to protect you, and swelling's happening and inflammation's happening to protect an area that has damage. And so initially what CBD does as a neuroprotectant is it tells your body you don't feel that pain. So it helps people, especially in our society. We've talked about that before. Americans in general, we're a society looking for instant gratification.
I know it.
So when you take a product that works immediately for pain relief, that's a great thing. So you get immediate relief. And if you don't have that from some sort of pain relief topical, you're kind of missing the boat and you maybe should switch products because that's how it should work. It should work right away. Mm-hmm. But what's causing the pain is actually what you should be treating. So we're getting the instant gratification with the pain relief, but what we should be treating is the inflammation and the underlying cause.
And it does that too.
But that doesn't happen instantly. It's similar to an injury. You might feel relief by putting ice on it, and that's reducing inflammation and it's numbing the area so you don't feel it because it's numbing your nerve endings. But it's not fixing the problem. You need time and healing, and CBD will help that inflammation side, which will correct the underlying problem. So long term, you don't continue with the pain.
And how long do you think that part kicks in, like the inflammation part, like 3 weeks?
You know, in general, humans are different. Humans heal at different rates. Everybody's different. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't give a rule of thumb on the inflammation side, because sometimes inflammation is not just caused by an injury.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times it's caused by our diets and what we eat and how we pollute our bodies. And so if every day we're eating red meat, and red meat's a trigger for our body to cause inflammation, all the CBD in the world is just going to bring it down, but it's not going to ever fix it because you're continually agitating it.
I agree with that.
So we try to educate people to say CBD is fantastic, and we obviously believe in it. However, I personally believe that most of the things CBD does, you could do if you lived a very clean lifestyle and really regimented your diet and really paid attention and listened to your body. You could do a lot of those things, but once again, CBD is a plant. So it comes back to like what you consume is really affects your body and how it works.
Yeah, I always say that to my patient. Food's our first medicine, your lifestyle, sleep, food, supplements come after that. Because we don't, like, some of my patients feel so good on it, they think they can do whatever they want, right? I'm like, but that's really not what it's for. But I'm glad that you feel that way.
Right.
Important.
I agree. We talk about that with the pet side, because you get an old pet and you can tell that they're not sleeping well and they're very agitated because they're in pain. They have aching joints, just as we all age and we realize that that's part of the aging process. Then you give it to them and they have that CBD and they feel great relatively quickly, especially in pets. You'll see it in minutes, how fast that they feel great.
Is that right?
And so we tell people, you take your 10-year-old dog who hasn't been playing fetch now for a year because he's just been declining, and now he wants to play and he's bouncing around like a puppy. Don't go throw the ball for him for 20 minutes.
Right.
Because he'll chase it.
And then he'll be.
But tomorrow, it's just like, you don't send grandma out to run a marathon when she hasn't been exercising either. Like, you just can't do that. So we tell people that's for their comfort, and it's going to extend their life and give them a better quality of life. But it's not the fountain of youth. It didn't turn back the clock. It just looks like it turned back the clock.
Right.
They feel better. They're sleeping better. They just have a better quality of life. When people see that, it really makes them realize how powerful it is, because the dog doesn't know if it's a placebo.
That's right.
And people often wonder, is it in my head, or I don't have any pain anymore after I rubbed it on? And it's a pretty powerful drug.
So for the pets, and that could be cats, dogs, anything, right?
Yeah, we have people give it to their parrots and ferrets and all kinds of different animals. Yeah,
people and pets have the same endocannabinoid system. That's another thing that we lean on the education with the same system. So they're smaller, so we have different kind of smaller doses that work for them. Size matters a little bit. It goes up in kind of the tinctures for humans, is much larger than the dogs and cats for sure. So,
right. And so, like, if I see a nervous animal, that would be really good for her.
100%.
A nervous animal, an animal in pain, a nervous person, a person in pain.
Same thing of life. Separation anxiety is huge in pets, especially during the training process when they're younger. Some of them have been abandoned. It's a great tool for helping your pet overcome that, and it's part of that training program that you can implement, so they don't scratch the paint off your doors when you leave and bark all day. They just can be more relaxed and more comfortable and more secure.
Like twice a day, the same as humans.
Yeah, and I always tell people, you have to watch your animal, because dogs have a much higher body temperature. So they're sitting a little bit over 100 degrees Fahrenheit, where we're down at 98.7 is fairly standard. So they're about 100.3, 100.4. They metabolize faster because they're running hotter. They're consuming more. So sometimes they require additional doses. But it's usually body mass dependent. But in pets, obviously, their metabolism's faster. Just like people. Some people's metabolism is much faster than others.
That's true.
So sometimes people need to take it more frequently because they burn through it.
Yeah. So, your products are very safe and they're very effective. And I love that they're locally made and they're organic, full and broad spectrum. I mean, that's like the best CBD product you can have.
100%.
Where else besides our office can patients find your products? Because I really think they're better than most I've seen.
Yeah. So we're a manufacturing company, so most of our business is wholesale, just as we have here with you.
Yes.
And so we have a store locator for the places that carry our entire product line, so that we don't have customers show up and they have, just the pain relief products or just the anxiety relief or things like that. So if you carry the whole product line, we have a store locator at Wellphora.com. Past that, we're in just a ton of doctors' offices. We're about 80% medical is what we really target, just because that's where you get the best education, you match up to the product, you get the best relief from getting the right product the first time. And also, doctors are more educated to be able to explain to people how to use it. That's why we don't target smoke shops and different places where Circle K sells CBD. I mean, there's lots of places you can get it. We kind of joke about gas station sushi. CBD follows that too. It's probably not your safest place to go.
And that's what gives it a bad name. So people say, I tried CBD, it doesn't work, right? And it's a quality of product that really matters to me.
And being consistent with the product,
and
for sure.
Part of my mission as the owner is to make sure that, one, people have a great experience the first time. And the reason for that is, and I use Tylenol, I know we talked about this before, but if you had a really bad headache and you took one children's Tylenol, you could easily say Tylenol doesn't work for headaches. When clearly we know 1,000 milligrams, 2 extra strength Tylenol is probably your preferred dose for an adult. Mm-hmm. And you might be 10% of that with the children's Tylenol. And so that's really, CBD is the same way. If you don't take the right product, so there's some things that require a really high dose and some things that you can get by with a really low dose and get a very good effect.
Yeah.
And so if you have something that requires a high dose, but you take a low dose, now you say CBD doesn't work. And now you miss out on all the benefits of what it could be doing for you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So we just make sure we match the patient to the right product the first time. They have a great experience. They see the relief, and then,
right.
helps them out.
And that's what people say, I've tried it. I'm like, just take this one, try it. And then the feedback is, oh, it does work.
And the other thing too, is that's really the only way you can have a money back guarantee on your products. Mm-hmm. Because if we have 30 something different products in our line, and if they were continually taking products that weren't matched to what they needed it for, we'd be giving away a lot of free product or returning a lot of money because they're not getting the right product. That's why we prefer the medical field. Because they're getting matched to the right product the first time, then we have no returns because it works for every single human on the planet. Mm-hmm. We all have that endocannabinoid system. Yeah. Works for every mammal, everybody that takes it. It will work at the right dose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no way it doesn't work. Yeah.
And there is a stigma around it, though. That's what I see. I see that a lot, especially with the older generations, that they feel like they're taking pot, instead of a medicine. And I feel like yours is definitely a medicine. Yeah. I mean, marijuana is a medicine too.
That sounds right.
Right? Like we do medical cards here for patients. There's definitely a use for that. This you do not need a medical card for, and there's no stigma associated with it because it's medicine. We have receptors for it. It de-inflames us. It treats pain, anxiety, insomnia. I just really love it. It's natural.
Yeah, and, we talk about that young mother with young children that maybe medical marijuana could benefit them, but they have to drive their kids to soccer practice, help them with homework, and they know that they don't think the same when they're on marijuana. That we get that, and there is a place for it medically, obviously. Yes. But CBD, you can use it all day, anytime with drive, think. I always feel like it makes me feel sharper, like my brain just. If there's ever a time, we call it brain fog, and kind of like if you don't know what brain fog is, if you ever woke up feeling hungover and you're just not quite clicking on all cylinders, right. CBD will. Well, it's a great antidote for brain fog.
Oh, I forgot that you told me that.
Yeah, that's great for pre and post workout, which is important.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff that's good for.
Really?
Absolutely right. Before you hit the gym, do your dose. When you're done, go ahead, hit your second one if you're ready.
To keep inflammation down.
Absolutely right. Yeah, the inflammation. I have elbows, so I'm absolutely walking into 2,500, and I hit the gym, and it kind of helps me navigate the rest of my day for sure. Right. It's important. A lot of people work out; they need that help.
So the 2,500, what he's talking about is a sublingual liquid. So in a bottle, there's 2,500 milligrams.
Correct.
The dosage is 1/4 of a cc twice a day or half, depending on my patient size and stuff. Right. And you just put it on I think it tastes good, personally, and just let it dissolve and fall asleep.
On the tongue, ready to go.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Right. So people can go to wellphora.com for information.
Correct.
There's a phone number if they have questions.
Yeah, there's a phone number, there's an email. All the emails will get answered by somebody that's very educated, so you'll get very good information. Mm-hmm. Customer service line is answered by people with, once again, very, very good background in CBD. They'll be able to answer all of your questions. Mm-hmm. That's the best way. We have a great FAQ page at wellphora.com too that has probably 95% of the questions that get asked about CBD. We get very specific questions, but for the general questions, it'll answer all of them and then some.
I should print those out when I describe it,
Very good.
And that was easy because literally that's the emails that come in. We take that person's name off and we put their question and their answer up there so that people can say, oh, I have that same question because they have the same questions over and over.
Yeah.
It's good to have.
So did we cover everything that we need to add?
We could talk about adding, how does CBD interact with X medication? Maybe something we need to talk about.
Sure. Like will it interfere with high blood pressure?
Yeah, there's a couple of things.
Yeah. So there's some specific things and then there's some general things. So in general, it doesn't have any effect on any medication. So just think of it as food. In a sense, it's just food. If you eat food, you're not worried about it interacting with your medication. But what it does,
except for grapefruit.
Except for definitely, grapefruit extract. Yes. So it doesn't have any medical interactions with medications, but one of the things it does, and I'll use diabetes for example, for somebody that's taking insulin. You take a certain amount of insulin, your body isn't using all of that. Your body has resistance to it naturally.
Yeah.
And so it reduces your resistance to insulin. So that's one of the things. Also,
you say that again?
It reduces your resistance to insulin,
so
which means you would actually take less insulin to get the same effect.
Improves insulin sensitivity.
Right. And so one of the things...
I forgot that. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Yeah, and one of the things is that insulin is your body's natural, tells you to store fat. And so when you take CBD, diabetic or not, you actually have leaner muscle mass over time. And that's not something that's instant, but it takes a long time because people that are not diabetic also use less insulin to get the same stuff of their metabolism. So by using less insulin, they're storing less fat and they're getting leaner muscle mass.
So CBD and THC improve insulin resistance. That's huge.
CBD is a natural vasodilator. Very minor. Mm-hmm. So if you're on a high blood pressure medication, you might consider checking your blood pressure daily. You might end up decreasing your blood pressure medication.
The need for
it's not going to make your blood pressure work or your medication work more. It's not going to change the way it's working, but your body may require less of that medication to get the same effect.
Because it's running more efficiently.
Yes.
Right.
So people who have high blood pressure or who take high blood pressure medicine that take this, if you start to feel like lightheaded, check your blood pressure because it might be lowering on its own with the use of CBD.
Right. And we've had a lot of customers say, I've had borderline high blood pressure, I've been borderline diabetic, and since I've been on CBD, I'm no longer borderline and I don't have high blood pressure anymore and I don't take any medication. People that take it that were at a lower level often get off of a lot of other medications, which is a huge bonus to have something that's all natural.
Right.
And made for the body.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The pre-workout.
Yeah, it's important.
The pre and post workout is a kind of a little hidden secret too. A lot of the performance athletes, the CrossFitters, the UFC fighters, they're taking it because your endurance. And we could probably...
Endurance, it improves your endurance.
Tremendously. It also improves your recovery. I would say the endurance side is probably part of the vasodilator side because you're getting better oxygen exchange through your muscles. But if you had a workout that you were regimented, that every Monday you ran, at 5 miles an hour on the treadmill for 50 minutes and how you feel every Monday, you would realize that, wow, I was running at, 5.5 miles an hour and I ran for an hour and a half and I feel great still. It's really unique, especially people that are athletes, to see what their performance, you definitely see some gains right away. And then if you take it after your workout, you get a better recovery and you're not nearly as sore the next day. Yeah.
Right. So I throw a bottle in my gym bag.
Yeah. Smart.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So between that and the muscle, the pain cream and stuff, it's great for the performance athlete and even the recreational athlete too, that they go out and now they're sore and they can take that and help recover quickly.
Right.
You have a roll-on, which is really nice and convenient. Just to throw a plug in there.
The roll-on's
fantastic, convenient. Ball works as a massager.
And we just released a new product a couple days ago. It's called Pain Cream 2K. It's a 2,000 milligram, as opposed to our previous one was 555 milligram. So it's tremendously strong. It's about 6 times stronger by volume.
Wow.
And that is really changing the industry at the moment.
I know. So I just want to drive home that there's no contraindications. You just want to get the CBD one if you're urine tested. If you're on medications, this is safe to take, just like eating food. It's not going to change the medication's effect, except it might improve it, right? Which means you might need less. So I think those are all great takeaways. I love the improved insulin resistance, insulin sensitivity, I should say, with CBD, which I didn't think about. I'm going to start thinking about more now. Is there anything else that I'm missing?
I think we're hitting the good ones here. Yeah. I'm sure there's always more questions we can find.
Here. Anytime you have questions, obviously we're a great resource of information. We're definitely experts in the field and can answer a lot of questions about it.
You're always available when we need you to. So
absolutely.
I can say that firsthand. So thank you, Matt and Jeff. I think this education is very useful.
Thank you,
and I appreciate you being here today and giving us some of your time.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, Dr. Andrew. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Do it again soon, I hope.
Yes. And thank you all for listening. If you have questions, please go to wellphora.com. We have the products in our office. You can go to, I think you didn't say this though, we can go to Farmers Markets.
You can look us up at Farmers Markets as well. Very good. Thank you for plugging that in. Very kind of you.
Farmers Markets, doctor's offices. You'll find it on wellphora.com as well. Thank you so much for your time and have a beautiful rest of your day. Bye-bye.